going to do a video on the Orion RXB 250R. I'll tell you why I'm doing this video. For a while now, I have wanted to do something different. I've been racing motocross my whole life. I've had almost every single brand of motorcycle out there as far as name brands. Even a TM. I've had a TM 125. I own a repair shop slash performance shop, Hunter Motorsports and 858 Race Engines and Suspension. And what I wanted to do, this started about a year ago. I wanted to take one of these Chinese bikes and see what I could do with it. Originally, I was going to buy a GPX FSE 250E, which is a very similar bike to the Orion. I just happened to be scrolling through some Facebook ads one day, and I saw an advertisement for this bike for $1,800. And I was skeptical, probably like a lot of people are. I have seen their pit bikes at the local races before. Never riding one myself, but I've seen them. And nonetheless, how this came to be was I just pulled the trigger and here we are. So it's been about a month now that I've had this, and right off the bat I was impressed for the dollar amount that the bike cost. You really can't get any better. I would have to say, minus the steel wheels, which, you know, there's been a couple people that have had problems. I haven't had any yet. But they are replaceable with Honda 32 spoke hole rear and 36 spoke hole front rims, which you could get aftermarket Tusk wheels from Rocky Mountain, relatively inexpensive. But what I've learned so far is, you know, it's an air-cooled 250 4-stroke, 2-valve, carbureted motor, similar to the 200X back in the day, XR200. The motor mimics the Honda CRF 230 of present day. A lot of interchangeable parts, cam, piston, CDI box, gaskets, clutch plates, front sprocket. The rest of the bike, the front rotor, rear rotor, front brakes, rear brakes are Honda copy. Rear sprocket would be a KTM. Body parts, KTM. Front forks and rear shock are KKE, which nobody seems to really know a lot about them. I have had mine apart. I have springs being made as we speak. I've done some valving to the front forks and have made major improvements to those. One thing I want to throw in there is I plan on only using this bike to ride on a motocross track. I don't do hair scrambles. I don't do trail riding. So I'm kind of putting this bike out of its element right off the get-go. I do have a video that I have posted to the Orion RXB X Moto Facebook group, which I will clip into this video as well so other people can see it on YouTube. But first thing I did when I got the bike, going off of some of the reviews from other members of the group that have these bikes, seems to be more people buy the L version, which is the street legal version, than the R model, which is strictly off-road. But right off the bat, I did a 52 rear sprocket. I did a quick adjust clutch lever from Rocky Mountain handguards, and I also put at that time I put a Shinko 546 front tire on, as I felt the stock tires were inadequate. Soft rubber, no sidewall, I should say thin sidewall. Not a lot of rim protection. And I now have a Shinko 540 100 118 on the back. Comes with a 110, which I feel is a little bit too much tire for this bike considering the power that it has. So those are the add-ons I did at first. I did put a big gun rev box on, which advances the timing curve and moves the rev limiter from 7,000 to 9,800. Which for some people, I guess you could say, might be scary. I'm not worried about it at all. These motors are pretty bulletproof. Even on the Chinese end, they've been around a long time, and they use them in a lot of different motorcycles around the world, and they got a good reliability history. So first time out on the track, I felt it was heavy and underpowered, but that stuff's all, you know, there's ways to improve all of that. I removed some stuff that was, in my mind, unnecessary. Took the kickstart off that was heavy and not functional. When you kick it over, it hits the foot peg, doesn't really give you a lot of throw. Took that off. Made some modifications myself. The sprocket that I put on the back was aluminum instead of the steel. I put a primary drive MX race chain on, which has drilled side plates in the links themselves, which saves rotating mass along with, you know, unsprung weight. The tire itself, the rear tire itself, being smaller, saves some rotating mass. Aluminum wheels, you know, if you get to that point where the stock wheels are not holding up, the aluminum wheels will save some weight. And let's see. So off the bat, like I said, it felt slow and heavy, even with that stuff done. And I was finding myself wanting not a lot more. I mean, it's fun. It's a fun, usable bike. It does everything good. Now that I have the suspension dialed in, it's even better. Did some modifications to the intake side of the intake manifold. There's I would call it a lip, but it basically directs the fuel and air mixture across before it enters the head. I massaged that lip out of there so it has a better path going into the head. I did what is called a rifle bore to the carburetor, where you modify the bell, the intake bell of the carburetor. You remove the restrictive lip where it comes in from the air box, and I chose to leave the intake side of the carburetor at 28 millimeter. From the slide back, I bored that to 30 millimeter. A lot of guys on the forum are trying 30s, 32s. My personal opinion is that is great if the head was ported, but in the stock form, I don't feel that it can flow enough to make a lot of difference. My personal opinion is that it might hurt it until porting is done. But nonetheless, everybody's got to try something. And with the mods that I've done, it's day and night difference from when I got it to now. It's much quicker out of the turns, much more responsive, you know, and there's also more room for improvements on that stuff. I think one of the biggest things with this bike being old school, I believe a high compression piston, which you can buy a Wiseco 11-to-1 piston for a CRF 230 that will fit right in this motor, and along with a CRF 230 cam. There's about 4 cams out there that seem like a good choice depending on what you're doing with the bike, and I also think that plays a big role in what to do with the bike. If you're gonna go trail riding, if you're riding in high elevation, if you're going to ride on a track like I am, cam choice is going to be important. Me personally, I'm looking for some more in the mid to upper range of the RPM than somebody, say, trail riding would want something more on the lower end, just to have that torque. I'm looking to, have the mid to upper end to carry momentum through the turns on a motocross track, more so riding the bike wide open than lugging it around the trail, which, like I said, is not intended for that, but I'm going to do the best I can to make it do what I want it to do. But overall, the bike is fun. I think, it can lose a few pounds here or there. Orion does have an aluminum swing arm, which would save a lot. But the biggest thing is keeping it reliable, keeping it fun, not doing stuff to it that, that it can't do, which so far I have found nothing that it can't do. And I'm just going to keep doing improvements from here, and I will, keep posting videos and keep posting my thoughts and opinions on our Orion RXB X-Moto Facebook group. There's a lot of good guys on there that have done many different mods, different from what I'm doing. A lot of the guys have the L model, and I will keep everybody posted, and I will tag my riding video along with this one, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.